Is your child watching hours of YouTube and you have no idea what exactly they are watching or how to stop them? Today, I'll show you exactly how to block YouTube on your child's iPad. I'll show you step by step using the built-in controls from Apple. And the best part is there's no technology experience required to follow along. This is a very easy and basic tutorial. Welcome to the Parent Tech Support Show, where I empower parents with the tech knowledge they need to know to protect their kids online. My mission is to demystify parental controls, share practical tips, and reveal the tricks kids use so that you can navigate the online world with confidence. I'm your host, Jack Hughes, and because I grew up in this age of digital devices, I've had plenty of experience with getting around parental controls and doing things I wasn't supposed to. But those days are now over. Today, I use all that inside knowledge to help parents protect their kids online. Why is it important to block YouTube? Why exactly does blocking YouTube matter? Why should you do that? What are the cons? What are the pros of YouTube? So, YouTube is actually one of my big experiences growing up. I loved YouTube as a child. One of my favorite things growing up was to use YouTube and to watch YouTube videos, and even now, it's one of my favorite things. I mean, some of my earliest memories was sneaking into my closet with my mom's computer to watch Minecraft videos on YouTube with my brother, and we would stay up till 2 a.m. to 3 a.m. watching YouTube videos on our computer, and eventually we got caught after a year of doing that, and it was a whole fiasco. My mom walked into our room one of those times. But I used to use YouTube all the time as a child, and I still use YouTube. I've used YouTube to learn how to build a motorcycle with an engine that I bought off Amazon. I've used YouTube to learn guitar. YouTube is just a great place to learn all sorts of things. You can use YouTube to learn how to do your own plumbing, or just like how I use it to play the guitar, or you can use YouTube to fix your car. YouTube has come very in handy when it comes to fixing my truck. And YouTube is just also very entertaining. Whenever I have 30 minutes to spare, I often just look up a YouTube video to be entertained. Maybe I'm eating food, maybe I'm just trying to pass time, like I'm flying or something. But YouTube also has a lot of cons and negatives to it that might make it or will make it unsuitable for some children. I mean, even when I was a kid, when I was sneaking YouTube, whether that was with my mom's computer or that was with the exploits that I knew to get around parental controls, I was exposed to a lot of negative content on YouTube, even though I didn't search it out. Many videos look innocent at first and then become inappropriate. There's some, let's say your child is watching Minecraft videos or Fortnite videos these days. As kids they play Fortnite nowadays, even though Minecraft's better, but that's besides the point. There could be many totally fine, appropriate Minecraft videos, and they may be watching those Minecraft videos, and they then may click on another Minecraft video, and turns out that Minecraft video has a lot of inappropriate stuff on that, whether that's language you don't want them to hear, whether that's sexual jokes, or maybe it's just not good content. You can use your imagination. I'm sure you can figure that out. There are people uploading bad videos to YouTube all the time. And YouTube is also just very addictive to kids, especially to people in general. Like I can also become addicted to YouTube if I'm not careful. YouTube is designed by like brain scientists. It's designed to keep people watching them because that's how YouTube makes money, through their ads. YouTube's algorithm will often autoplay harmful and especially addictive content. They autoplay addictive content to get more views, to get more clicks, to get people's more attention. And the algorithm will automatically give people sometimes harmful content. So a lot of kids don't search out this harmful content. A lot of this harmful content just comes to them because YouTube recommends that video to them. And it's not just about porn or violence, it's also about excessive screen time, anxiety, and overstimulation that comes with just all your time spent on YouTube and social media in general. And it's quite common for YouTube videos to send people down very weird rabbit holes of the internet. YouTube does this because that's what keeps people watching. And I've even heard of kids watching Minecraft videos for 1 second and then watching prank videos with cursing and sexual content in under like 30 minutes or so, just because YouTube recommends and recommends and recommends, and eventually you go down that rabbit hole. So YouTube can be a very good tool and a very powerful tool, and it can have a lot of very good benefits when it's used correctly. But on the other side of the coin, it also can have very severe consequences when used irresponsibly, which is why it's important to know how to restrict or block YouTube when your child or teenager aren't mature enough to handle those responsibilities of YouTube. I'm sure when I was 9 years old sneaking on YouTube with my phone, I definitely was not responsible enough to have YouTube. And I was exposed to a lot of harmful content, and it did impact me negatively. So how do you block YouTube on an iPhone or an iPad? So I want to give you a little step-by-step guide, and if you're watching this on YouTube, you also see me follow along on my phone here. I got my phone open so I can walk you through this, but if you're listening, that should be just fine. I'll also narrate that, or narrate what I'm doing. So the first step, if your child already has YouTube, they already have YouTube downloaded, you want to make sure you delete that app, or else all that we're going to do is going to be pointless. So to delete that app, you're going to find YouTube. You're going to find YouTube here. I just searched it up, and then you're going to hold down on the YouTube icon, and you're going to press delete app, and it's going to ask you, do you want to delete YouTube? I'm going to press delete. Now YouTube is deleted. Another helpful tip, a lot of kids will hide their apps, or sometimes kids will be able to hide their apps in the hidden app folder, so you want to make sure you check that. If an app is in the hidden app folder, you won't be able to find it using the search feature. So always double check and make sure they don't have it hidden. So once YouTube is deleted, or if they never had a YouTube to begin with, we're going to go to settings, and we're going to go down to screen time. Now you're able to do this on your own phone or your child's device if they have an iPad or an iPhone. But if you're on your iPhone, you should scroll down and you should be able to see their profile around here, and then you just press their profile, and then you would be in your child's screen time settings. But if you're just on your child's phone or my phone right here, we can just skip that step right there. The first thing you want to do is you want to make sure screen time is turned on. My screen time is already turned on my phone, so we don't have to worry about that step as well. Well, you want to make sure screen time is on, and you also want to set up a screen time password. So at the bottom of the screen time page, there's a little option that says lock screen time settings. We're going to press that, and we're going to set a screen time password. It's going to ask me for an email or phone number to use. I'm just going to skip that for now. But I highly recommend that you also set that up as well, because sometimes people will forget the screen time passwords, and if you forget the screen time password, you're kind of screwed there. So now that we've turned on screen time and we've set up a password, the reason why you want to set up that password is that if you don't set up the screen time password, or the screen time pin as it's sometimes called, the reason why you want to do that is if you don't do that, your child will be able to just change the settings willy-nilly however they want. But because you set up the password, they're going to need the password, they're going to need the screen time pin in order to change the settings. So going back to what our mission is to block YouTube. So now that we have deleted YouTube, or if your child never downloaded YouTube, now what we're going to do is we're going to block them from ever being able to download it or to reinstall it. So in order to do that, we're going to go to this button here that says restrictions and content and privacy restrictions. We're going to press that button, the button that says content and privacy restrictions. And now we're going to press the button that says iTunes and App Store purchases. So we're going to press that button there. And the button that says installing apps on my phone right now, it's set to allow. You're going to press that, and you're going to press do not allow. And then it's going to ask you for your screen time password. You're going to put in the password, and now it's set to do not allow app installs. So now that the app install is set to do not allow, your child will not be able to download YouTube. Now remember, we just prevented their ability from downloading any app. So let's say they need to download an app for school, or they want to download a game. You're going to have to turn the installing apps to allow, have them download those apps, and then you set it back to do not allow after, so they can't install YouTube. And that also applies to other social medias like Instagram and whatnot, which are definitely worse than YouTube. But we are not done. We have blocked the YouTube app from being downloaded, and we've blocked the child's ability to download YouTube. We still need to block their ability from going on YouTube.com. So a lot of parents, what they'll do is they'll block the app, or they'll set a limit on the app, but they won't set a limit on YouTube.com. So once, let's say, the child can't access the app, they just look up YouTube.com and they just use YouTube on the web browser. So you also want to make sure you block that. So to block the YouTube website, we're going to go to the button that says content and privacy restrictions. And I didn't mention this earlier, but you want to make sure the content and privacy restrictions slider at the top is turned on, or else all this is going to be pointless, in vain. So you want to make sure that's on. In order to block the websites, we're going to go to the button that says App Store, Media, Web, and Games option. We're going to press that. Then we're going to go down to where it says Web Content, and we're going to go into that. And then you want to make sure it is set to limit adult websites or only approved websites. So only approved websites is going to block every single website except for the few that you allow. And you could either set it to that, or you can set it to limit adult websites, which blocks a lot of the porn websites. There are still porn websites that YouTube or that this filter will not catch. So you want to be careful about that. But what's nice about the limit adult websites option is it allows you to add certain websites you'd never want to allow, or you want to always allow. So in order to block YouTube, we're going to press never allow, and we're going to type in youtube.com. So, bam, there we go. We just blocked YouTube. That wasn't very hard. Now your child won't be able to access YouTube. Again, a common mistake parents make is they don't set the website block up. But there are a few additional tips that might help, and there are a few other softer approaches you might be able to take. You can, number one, you could use YouTube Kids, so you can block YouTube, the main app, and then install YouTube Kids on their phone. And YouTube Kids is a more child-friendly version of YouTube made for kids. I mean, it's called YouTube Kids, but remember, it is still YouTube. It's not perfect. It's way better than the main app. There's a lot less harmful content on it, but it doesn't catch everything. And maybe it blocks 99% of all the harmful content, but that 1% is still always going to get through. And what's nice about YouTube Kids as well is you can do a lot more restricting on YouTube Kids itself than you can with just screen time. So you can fine tune it a lot more. And next week, I hope to release a video all about YouTube Kids as another second part to this podcast here. You could also set app limits. So instead of blocking YouTube entirely, you can set app limits and web limits so that you only have 30 minutes a day on YouTube or on Safari. And so instead of outright blocking YouTube, you're setting a cap on how much time they're allowed to spend on YouTube. Maybe that's a good in-between stage from, let's say they turn 14 or so and you allow 30 minutes a day of YouTube. And then maybe they're 16, you allow 60 minutes a day, and 18, you allow them to have full access to YouTube. I don't know, that might be something, a cool little system you might employ. And another tip I highly recommend is to always test these settings after you set them up. So you set up the web content filter, you block YouTube, make sure it's working. A lot of times screen time will have bugs, and sometimes it doesn't work. So always do your due diligence, always do your homework, make sure these settings are working, test them. And there's another tip I should tell you is there's also a lot of times parents will block youtube.com, but those filters only really apply to Safari. If your child has Google Chrome or maybe Firefox downloaded on their phone, a lot of the time they can still access YouTube. So you want to make sure there's no other web browser on their phone. Only Safari by default is on their phone. And the screen time filters work for Safari because it's an Apple service with an Apple service. So make sure there's no other web browsers on the phone. Just use Safari and block the YouTube website on screen time. And again, you can also block them from installing new apps so that they can't just install Chrome and other third-party browsers. Also, another huge tip that a lot of parents don't know is make sure the screen time password is secure. Your child, if they want to be, they could be a spy. I was a spy growing up. I figured out the screen time passwords a few times. One time, the password my parents set up was just the garage door code, which was 5006. Super easy to guess. Another time, I was able to look over the shoulder or set up a camera. We had all sorts of tricks. Make sure your child never figures it out. And another thing I highly recommend is to change the screen time password quarterly. So that let's say they do guess it, the damage is mitigated because they only know it for a little bit. And generally always look through screen time and make sure none of the settings are changed. If you got through these steps, give yourself a big pat in the back. You've taken real action to protect your child from online content, and that's a big deal. If any part of this video or podcast felt overwhelming, or if you want someone to set this up for you and you want to skip all of the hard stuff, I can help you. That's part of what I do. I have a tech support service that's designed to walk parents such as yourself through processes like this, how to set up screen time, how to protect your child, not just from YouTube, but from Instagram, from pornography online, from online predators, all sorts of stuff. Visit parenttech.support. That's my website. You can also sign up for my newsletter, and if you sign up for my newsletter, that will also give you a quick guide to screen time, or you can use my service. Again, that's parenttech.support. And that's the end of this podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share this show and podcast or video, however you're watching, with other parents who would want healthier tech habits for their kids. Also, stay tuned for next week. I'll be releasing that second part of this series here. So that's all. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you next week for that video.